Hi, I'm Sherry.
And Andres.
And together we are
Buena Vida Route.
We travel in our 91 Toyota Dolphin along with our 3 dogs. Welcome in. All right, so as you come into our house, to the left you will find our kitchen. In the upper cabinets, we mostly store our dishes. And we usually wrap everything around with like rubberized material so that nothing gets moved around when we're driving. Because I like cooking a lot, we have mostly ceramics, so we gotta make sure that nothing gets broken. On the other side, we mostly have dishes and a few Tupperware, our expandable colander, and some mugs that I like putting like oatmeal in the morning as we drive. These doors were the original doors to the cabinets, but we cut out the middle part and we put burlap in the inside. We also used pieces of salvage wood as we hiked for our handles for a more rustic look. In this upper cabinet is what basically I call my pantry, so we mostly have all of our goods for cooking. We have a 4-burner stovetop, and we, again, put this in here so that these don't rattle as we drive. And this lifts up, and it gives us enough room for me to be able to do any of our meals. Underneath we have an oven. It's a tiny little oven, what we make do. And of course everything has to serve multi-purpose, so it obviously works as storage as well. We have a pop-up rack for drying our dishes, and extra pans for baking, and even some sheet pans for the cookies and scones in the morning. We have a double sink. It was the original double sink that the RV came with, but we did change the faucet, and we also installed a water filter. It's an Activa water filter that sits right underneath. We only have 14 gallons of water, so we actually took away our black water tank because we changed our toilet to a compostable toilet. And so instead we want to replace it with another fresh water tank so that we have extra water. But for now, that's it. Here we keep all of our cleaning supplies. One of the things that we're pretty adamant is trying to use all biodegradable products. In this first drawer, we keep all of our utensils. And all of the drawers have these hooks. When we remodeled La Chata, these used to all be cubbies, and I made sure that they ended up being drawers instead for the ease of being able to open them and easily access everything. And then over here we have most of our cooking pans, our French press, and our kettles, and even a waffle maker because Andres loves his waffles in the morning. On the bottom drawer, we have a little bit more extra storage that we keep our Ziploc bags and our restorable Tupperware and things of that nature. And this one at the bottom actually stores our 3 100-watt Battle-Born lithium-ion batteries for part of our solar system. When we remodeled her, we wanted to make sure that we had more of a rustic cabin kind of a feel. Andres had the bright idea to look for something for a backsplash because we had tried a bunch of different things, including those like stick-on tiles, and nothing was quite working. So this was actually drying racks, fruit drying racks that he found online and that we took apart, and then we painted them in different colors and we filled in all the holes with like epoxy resin. And then we basically just nailed them to the wall, and they've been there ever since. They work great because they have the clear finish on them. I'm able to wipe off any of the grease or any of the residue from cooking. The countertop is a pine slab. We wanted to make sure that it looked like a slab, but we also didn't want it to be too heavy. So this was the lightest weight possible that we could do. This is our cutting board, and you will see around the rig that we use cleats, boat cleats, as hooks, because this is a Dolphin, so it ended up being more of a little bit of a nautical theme, so we ended up doing that. And this is a window. We can roll up the shape. They're attached with Velcro, but we also have a second layer that has Reflectix on the back so that it keeps away the cool or the heat and keeps our place pretty thermo. Plus, if we want to sleep in late, it gets really dark in here, so we can be sleeping in late and nobody knows. All right, so again, I'm Sherry.
And Andres.
And together we're Buena Vida Route. When we first started out, Andres actually came over to me. We kind of met late in life, and he came over to me and said, hey, you want to go camping? And I was like, maybe if you had met me 20 years earlier. And then eventually he kept on insisting, and I said, okay, well, as long as it has a shower and a place that I can cook and keep clean, then we're all good. So we did a lot of research, and originally we had gotten a camper. We remodeled a camper and learned all of our lessons with that. And then I commend him because he did all of the research in order to find out about all the reasons why we should have a Toyota. Yeah. The great motor, the gas efficiency, and actually it was very spacious for, we wanted to make sure that it was a rig that we could park anywhere. So this is exactly the size of a parking spot, and that we could take into national parks and not have a limitation as far as the height or the length goes. Yeah, and have enough room. So it has a lot of storage, and it's able to store all of our needs and then some, really. And we have enough room for our little doggies to roam around as well. So on the opposite side of the rig, we have basically our living area, which includes where we eat, where we work on our laptops, where we lounge, where we invite friends over for dinner, where an extra guest can sleep. Just about everything else happens in this area. So we first created this so that we could sleep 2 people, but we could also entertain. Just because we wanted to live tiny didn't mean that we wanted to stop living the way that we normally would live. So this area, both the bottom pieces pull out, and we have extra cushions that lay down on it. The table folds all the way down, and it creates almost a double size bed. But also we can put this down, and Andres and I can take the back cushions over here and have a couple of chaise lounges, where the seat cushions over here, we can have our feet up, cocktails at night or something of that nature. Also, we can extend the table out. The hinges actually hold about 500 pounds, so people can easily sleep on it. Pull these out and have 4 guests over for dinner. One of the other things that we made sure that we wanted to do was that when we originally got the rig, the heater was over at the floor. And because we have 3 little dogs, we never really ran the heater because we were afraid that it was going to burn the dogs. So when we did the renovation, we took away that heater and we replaced it with this, which is a little propane fireplace. You heat it up and you turn the knobs and you have a little flame going on, which is really romantic, but it actually does heat up the place. Unfortunately, that meant that we could no longer pull out these cabinets like you normally do, which they normally would lift up just like on the other side. So we created this track out of aluminum slides, and then we hold them together with magnets. So we have a little extra storage here, and Andres usually stores all of his recording equipment over here, and we have a little extra storage for clothing as well. Underneath these 2 pieces, right underneath here is our 14-gallon of fresh water. And over on this side is our hot water heater and part of the electrical system as well. July of 2021, Andres and I renewed our vows, and we were going on a trip with my brother, my sister-in-law, and my nephew. And right underneath where Andres is sitting, the tires blew out and basically tore out a huge hole from our floor. It took with it the plumbing for the refrigerator, the plumbing for the heater, the plumbing for the fresh water tank, and shifted this entire wall about 2 inches to that side. So after we were rescued and we were back in LA and we determined what was going on, we realized that the damage was way more than what we originally had thought. Right underneath where I'm sitting, it's the hot water heater, which is still where the hot water heater is housed, but the original hot water heater must have been leaking for a long time, and so all of our floors were rotted out to the point where like the support beams were rotted out. So we basically tore everything out and start from scratch. It definitely gave us a chance to improve upon the way that we wanted things to work within the rig. When you start traveling in it, and for most of you that own one, you will know that as you start traveling and you realize what your needs are, some of the things that you carried with you that you never really used, and some of the things that you should have carried with you. Over in the rest of the area, we have our refrigerator. So originally when we got this, it had a very small refrigerator with like a 4-inch freezer, and to me it was ridiculous that we couldn't really keep anything frozen. So now we replace it with a much larger refrigerator that actually has a nice sized freezer. We can even keep ice cream in here. And it obviously houses our collection of memorabilia when we travel. We put all our magnets here, and underneath the cabin area, you will see that we also collect patches. We realized early in the game that we couldn't really pick up big things as we were traveling. So little mementos like this remind us of the places that we have been. Right above the refrigerator, we have one extra little cubby where we keep extra stuff for cooking. And below houses all of our solar system. So we have a 2,000 watt inverter, a DC to DC charger, and all the switches and breakers that you could possibly imagine. That was a whole lesson to be learned when we did that. Back here is our bathroom. And as I had mentioned before, we got rid of our black tank and replaced it with the composting toilet that we built ourselves. So it has 2 compartments, one for number 1 and one for number 2. Back here we have a small closet, but we put shelves in it, so Andres is entitled to 2 cubbies, I'm 2 cubbies, and then we have 2 cubbies where we have like dish towels, and sheets. And one of the biggest things that we did this year was that we installed a mini split. Because we travel with our dogs, we wanted to make sure that if we were hiking somewhere and it was really hot and they stayed in here, that we were able to keep them in here safely. So this is actually a 12 volt, and it can easily run 8 hours with our 3 batteries. Back here, we have our shower. But our shower is multi-purpose, as everything needs to be in a small rig. So this is actually what we call our garage, and we keep our picnic table and our extra chairs, our portable tent, and the tent for the doggies, and our outdoor rug. So as you enter our rig, you will see that we have a curtain. We actually put interlining felt on the other side so that when we're all in the cabin, we have a way to keep the air conditioner from the cabin inside. But it also gives us privacy at nighttime, that we can just close the window, the curtain up, and not be able to be seen. Originally, these rigs come with a mattress that is like a U-shaped, and then it has a little piece in here, only because this is supposed to be able to lift, which are still lift. But it was the most uncomfortable thing because you would always end up falling in like the crack in between the 2 cushions. So we replaced it with a memory foam mattress. It has an HR foam at the top and a memory foam topper, and it's been super comfortable. What actually made it much more comfortable, the doggies usually don't live up here. They have their own little bed at the bottom. This is Cremini, and it's really comfortable to sleep up here. And one of the things that we loved about Toyotas, or about this type of rig, is the fact that you actually do sleep on top of the cabin. So normally if you have a van or you have a schoolie, you have to have your bed within the space that you have. This is only 20 feet. So if we took away the 5 feet that this takes up, it would have left us with only 15 feet of living space. And over on that side, we actually created a little nightstand, and we put in a 12 volt USB port so that we can connect our phones or our tablets at nighttime. One of the other things is that we created a little pantry after we remodeled this. We literally had like 4 inches left over, but any space is good space when it comes to living small. So we created a little rollout pantry, which houses a lot of our pantry items and some of our electronics as well. And to keep it secure, we just created a little leather strap, and it snaps right in. So originally we actually created this rig with the purpose of traveling first down to Costa Rica, because that's where my family's from and where we have property.
Yeah, I'm from Colombia. That's another place that we want to go.
And then eventually we wanted to head down to South America, all the way down to Ushuaia in Patagonia, Argentina. So that was the number 1 reason why we started doing this, to be able to travel full time, leave what we had established here in the States and move on to new worlds. Unfortunately, that all sort of happened and the same time that COVID happened. And so we've now been staying here. Meanwhile, COVID sort of settles down and borders are back to being open, because we realized as we were doing it that a lot of people that we knew through social media that have other rigs were stuck in different countries and not so great situations. Some were actually stuck in really amazing situations, but for now we're going to be staying put, traveling throughout the US. And then as the world, let's all hope, comes back to a more normal sense of being, then we will start heading south. Probably spend some time in Costa Rica and one of our homes, and with some of my family, for Andres to meet a lot of our family that he hasn't met, and then head on down south.
Okay, we are outside of our rig, and we have some feature that we are noticed, like we carved this table, and we also have the Buena Vida route, and we paint this one by hand. See, explore the world. Okay, we also have a battery session and the propane tank over here. And we also have extra storage in the back. Okay, we also paint all the rake, and we prepared it, and we took away all the stickers, and looks like brand new.
All right, so you can follow us pretty much in all platforms. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Well, actually, we're also on Pinterest and Facebook. So, and we're all on those platforms as Buena Vida Route. In Instagram, we're Buena Vida _route_. But all the rest of them are Buena Vida Route. We also have a website, Buena Vida Route. We make some merchandise like the baseball cap that you see Andres wearing and our t-shirts that we're wearing. We created all of our drawings, so check us out there as well.